We are April and Scott, creators of NaughtyGym.com, and this is the Naughty Gym Show.
For years, we've been fitness and nutrition coaches to thousands of people through our commercial gyms and online platform. We've also spent nearly a decade in an ever-evolving open relationship.
This show brings together two of our biggest passions, fitness and sex positivity. Our mission is to maximize the physical and mental health of anyone brave enough to explore relationship structures that run counter to societal norms.
We have demolished our old ways of thinking about relationships, and from that rubble, built a life full of happiness, adventure, and vitality. And now we want to help you do the same.
So hop on the treadmill, start the show, and let us teach you how to never stop playing. Welcome back to the Naughty Gym Show. I'm your host, April, and this is the pickleball legend himself, my co-host, Scott.
I will say that we just got back from Hito at a week of coaching pickleball there, and I don't know how many games we played. I came close once, but we never lost a game.
Who, we, me and you?
Well, me. You lost some. I did not lose any.
I also played more than you.
That's true. One day I got incredibly overheated and had to go to the pool.
Yeah. Oh, poor thing. One day, every day, he was like, "Oh, I'm so hot. I can't do this." April, you.
I have a condition.
Yeah, I know. You've got several conditions. Yeah. So we just got back from 8 days at Hedonism Resort, coaching pickleball clinics and pickleball. It was a lot of fun. It was a much different trip than we've ever had at Hito before, because while we were there in a work capacity.
Which we've never been there that we weren't in a work capacity.
Right. But we were working from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then we had the rest of the day off, literally no other responsibilities. And we met some really cool people. We had some great conversations, but we had also gone into this week with the intention to connect with each other and focus on each other, because we haven't had a lot of time to do that, just you and I. Especially at somewhere when we're working an event. And it was amazing. We had a really great time.
I think we had sex every day.
We did.
It was awesome.
The pickleball courts are fantastic. Very exciting. I was averaging over 30,000 steps a day. I was physically, and it was 90 degrees by 9 a.m.
Oh, it was brutally hot.
And 100% humidity.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to Be Better at Being Bad in January 2nd through the 9th, our event, bring your pickleball paddles, because while we will not be running pickleball clinics, there's a couple that was there with us also working, Eve and Vale.
They're fantastic.
And they are going to be there the entire month of January running pickleball clinics. They're declaring January pickleball month at Hedonism Resort. So bring your pickleball paddles. If you don't have paddles, they have paddles at the resort you can use. They have balls there. And it's just so much fun with sexy people, a lot of laughing going on. You can play naked if you want to. You have to have tennis shoes, but we didn't, because we need something to collect the sweat.
Yeah, actually nobody did. And then there were, surprisingly, especially considering there was only like 2 or 3 weeks heads up about this happening, which meant nobody was there because of it.
Right.
There was a lot of people that showed up and played. Nobody played naked.
It's too hot. Like,
yeah, you
sweat a lot with clothes on, and and you're still slinging sweat everywhere.
Well, this is how bad it is. I made the mistake one day of playing in a sleeveless shirt or like a tank top. And I sweat so bad that the sweat was, because apparently my sleeves, if I have a normal shirt, catches some of the sweat. The day I played without sleeves, the sweat was running down my arms worse, and I kept having to wipe my grip off. You learn things.
Yeah, it was a really good time. The last day, there was one guy who was super cute from Australia that I had a little crush on, but he was just the right amount of sarcasm and got my dark humor, and we laughed. That was the day you got too weak and had to go lay at the pool and have a drink.
I don't like you saying too weak. I mean, we could phrase that differently.
But so that was fun. We laughed a lot, but then we met another couple on our last night, and we literally just hung out They had one of the hot tub rooms on the nude side.
On the beach. Yeah.
And we just hung out on their back little patio and talked for probably 7 or 8 hours.
I don't remember why we went to the room, but we were in the nude pool. We met them. We were talking, or actually, I think you met them.
Yeah.
I think you were talking. At some point, you said, "Hey, we're going to run to their room real quick." I was like, "Oh, what's happening?" And we went to their room at like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So we hadn't eaten anything. We
Yeah.
hadn't showered. We skipped dinner, the show, everything. We were in their room from like 5 to whatever it was, 1:30. 1:30. Never ate. And
Never.
It was just that good a conversation.
And that's all it was.
That's all it was.
It was conversation.
No play,
Yeah.
There was some flirty banter, but nothing happened.
Lovely couple, but it was so much fun. So much fun. So, okay. Before we go into it.
Today's episode.
I forgot what I was supposed to say.
We're going to talk about today how good you are, not you, but people in general. How good are you, the listener, at reading people, picking up on their energy, their vibe, intuiting what they're thinking or how they're feeling or what kind of person they are?
Yeah, how good is your intuition?
Yeah.
I think is a good way of saying it. But before we do, I want to talk about a couple events that we have coming up. Our next event is Toronto. So June 25th through the 28th, we're going to be at the X Club. So 4 days. Ashley Manta is going to be there doing a workshop. Luna Matatas and DJ Raw Pulse are going to be there. DJ B Smooth is going to be there. It's also Pride Week in Toronto.
Well, it's Pride Month. But the biggest week of Pride Month is that final week. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm interrupting me.
You.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. One of the biggest Pride celebrations in North America. So go to our website, naughtygym.com, click on the events tab. You can only get tickets. You can get weekend passes on our website with our link. But more importantly, if you are coming, FIFA World Cup is also in town that weekend. So hotel prices are outrageous. There's a link on our page that gives you a special X Club discount. And it's very reasonable hotel rates for the hotel that's closest to the X Club. So please join us June 25th through the 28th in Toronto. Then we have Barcelona in August. That's sold out. You can still get on the wait list. That's always possible. Somebody drops out. El Salvador, we have 5 spots left for that. That is one of my very favorite trips of the entire year. It's October 12th through the 17th. It's more of a retreat, holistic style. And then we have our 3 retreats in November 8th through the 11th, Wild and Wise, where I co-host with Catherine with Expansive Connection. And it's a women's menopause retreat. And then at the same time, in the cabin right next door to us, Scott will be hosting Mancation Mountain Men's Retreat. And then November 15th through the 20th, we have our holidays. And that's actually been booking up pretty quick. We take 5 days, celebrate in a very naughty fashion, all 5 holidays: Halloween, Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then our big banger celebration, New Year's Eve. So naughtygym.com, click on the events tab and check out all those events. And after today's show, we take it over to our Patreon, patreon.com/naughtygym. And that's where we go a little deeper, share a little more salacious details. Last 2 weeks ago, Scott shared his story about his first bisexual encounter.
In graphic detail.
And it was so hot. And so join us after the show at patreon.com/naughtygym for the after chat.
All right. So we're going to talk today about something that is a concept that I think is incredibly important in non-monogamy and something that we're all guilty of to some degree or another. And it's this idea, and it's very popular now to hear people say things like, yeah, I'm just good at reading people. I pick up on vibes. I really feel people's energies. I can kind of intuit what people are thinking or what kind of person they are, that sort of thing. And you may be interested to find out some of the things that we're going to talk about today, because it may be very enlightening for you. And because a lot of the times thinking that way is not always bad, but it can be very problematic at times. And it's actually something we write about in our upcoming book, Wild Love Theory, that'll be released in September. And we talk about it in the book. The chapter that we talk about this specifically is called The Two Prophets. It's the bad prophet and the unprophet. But we're going to go through it today and kind of let you sort of self-analyze yourself. But we're going to start by I'm going to ask April some questions. Now, April's incredibly familiar with the book, of course, because we wrote it together, but she doesn't know exactly what questions I'm about to start the show by asking her. And I want you to answer these honestly. Don't.
Oh, I always answer honestly.
Well, I know, but you also have helped write the book, so you could be filtering your answers through what you might be thinking I want you to say.
Also, I do want to take a moment to say this will be released tomorrow on Thursday. Friday is my birthday, just for anybody out there that wants to. I'm a big birthday person. I love birthdays.
Guys or ladies.
Yeah, why you would just go to guys?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the
humans.
The guys are more likely to respond, I think, sometimes.
That is not true. That has not been the case.
Yeah. Reach out, send her a birthday present. Look, gift giving is her love language.
Gift giving is my love language, but not like extravagant. I do like extravagant gifts, but like my favorite thing is a homemade, like a very thoughtful gift.
Oh, like you got a birthday gift that came in the mail today from a very dear friend of ours, and she'll know who we're talking about if she's listening to this podcast. You laughed. It was brilliantly thoughtful,
yes,
but also hilarious, and we both laughed at it for a long time.
It was perfect. Yeah.
So anyway, send her a gift, preferably a new car. That's the kind of gift
I love my car.
Send me a new car. Okay, all right. First question, April, and again, be honest. Do you think you are better than the average person at detecting when someone is lying to you?
Yes.
All right. All right. It's good.
Do you want me to expound?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
Sure.
So when somebody's lying to me, all right, growing up, I had to be hyper aware of my surroundings. And I am very street smart. I wasn't always book smart. I am book smart now, but I did not grow up book smart because of a lot of reasons. I was in 5 different schools by the time I was in 3rd grade. So, but I see things. I watch people. I watch body language. Now, am I right 100% of the time? No, but I do think I am above average when it comes to that.
So you're saying you're not 100%, and of course not. Nobody's 100%, but what would you guess would be your accuracy rate?
96%.
Okay, so basically, 100%. All right, so a study was done on this particular issue. So all of these things, there's been research done on it. There was a meta-analysis done on all the different studies done on this specific topic, how good people are at picking up on whether somebody's lying, whether it's their partner or a stranger. Almost 25,000 different specific research examples. And the percentage of time that people were accurate about whether somebody was lying or not was 54%. So essentially a coin flip, essentially nothing.
I was not a part of that study.
Right. I knew you would say that. The top people were more like 60 to 65%, depending on how they judge the answer.
So I'm a savant.
So even the best people are only at absolute best, and this is very rare. This is probably not you. 2/3 of the time, not 96% of the time, but 60.
I can concede to that.
All right. So, but the average person, it's essentially you can't do it. You're no better than chance. 54% means flip of a coin, so you're not doing anything. All right. Do you think you are more intelligent than the average person?
Yes.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing about that?
Because that probably sounds arrogant, but I do.
Okay. So this stat's a little bit different, but 65% or essentially 2/3 of Americans, this was a study done on Americans only, but 2/3 of Americans said they were more intelligent than the average person. Obviously that can't be true. Only Yeah, we're not going to explain an old
We're not
story
going to go
that we
into
haven't already-
averages.
But that can't possibly be true. Only 50% of the people are below average, 50% are above, essentially. All right, next question. But by the way, I agree with you on that one. I am confident your
That was
IQ,
sweet.
your IQ. So IQ test, if you take that as the measure of intelligence, average person scores roughly 100. That's why it's set that way. If you score over 100, you're above average. All right.
If there was no math section, I'd probably score higher.
That's part of it. That's going to hurt your score a bit. All right, next question. Do you think you are a better driver than average person?
God. Well,
Than the average person?
yes,
Okay.
I do.
This
You know why?
Why? No. I don't
0
know.
tickets
Okay.
and only one accident that wasn't my fault.
So do you attribute the fact that you have 0 tickets to the fact that you're a better driver than average?
A smarter and better driver because I can talk my way out of tickets and
Let me ask,
drive faster.
have you been stopped before?
Yes.
A lot?
4 or 5 times. But I'm about to be 48 on my birthday, which is Friday.
Is that 4 or 5 times? Is that really accurate?
Yeah. If you count the time that the police officers got out of their car and took pictures with me on the side of the road.
Yeah. Your looks have gotten you out of a lot of tickets that I've only been stopped like once or twice that I didn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
You've been stopped multiple times.
You've gotten a ticket for driving too slow.
That's true. Yeah. All right. So, but here's an interesting fact. So the asking the question about being a better driver, when this study was done and a huge sample of people in America were asked that same question, 93% of people believe they're an above average driver.
Oh, that's false.
So
at least,
essentially everybody thinks that.
especially not in Alabama.
Okay. So everybody thinks the same thing.
I learned how to drive in Chicago.
That's,
I think Chicago drivers are better drivers on average.
do you think, this is question 4, do you think you are safer behind the wheel than the average driver?
No, safer. You mean, am I safe in a car on the road?
Do you
Safe from all these crazy drivers?
Yeah. Do you believe you drive in a safer manner?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So
do.
roughly the same percentage, not a little lower, but it's 88% of US drivers rated themselves as safer than the average driver. So essentially, if you go out in town and grab a random assortment, everybody thinks they're a better driver. Everybody thinks they're safer, or almost everybody.
Yeah, well, they are wrong.
Okay. Right. But you don't think you are, correct? Wrong.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, correct. All right. Question 5.
I'm not dogmatic about a lot of things.
Except driving
Except that,
and
I'm-
IQ
yes.
and intuiting people. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Question 5. Do you think you are better at average at getting along with people?
No.
What? Really? This is only one I think you should have said yes to.
Yeah, I do. I'm a people person. I love people.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's right. All right. So another study on this said that 85% of people rate their ability to get along with others as higher than the average person. And here's the crazy thing. 25% of the people asked about this rated themselves in the top 1%, which is obviously ridiculous.
Look, if you have ever walked into my children's high school, we had graduation last night. My youngest, the last of 3 children, graduated high school last night. I never have to walk into that school again. None of those people try to get along. There's a handful.
Try to what?
Get along with other people. Get along with others well.
Well, that's not the point. The point is most everybody thinks
Yeah,
they are.
that is.
All right. Next question. Do you think, this is a bad question probably to ask you, but do you see yourself as being above average in looks and attractiveness?
I consider myself average.
Okay, my God. This is the one question you should definitively say yes to because you're one of the most beautiful people I know. And that's not, I just ask anybody
'cause you
that knows
love
you. No,
me.
it's not. I know it is. I know that I'm biased, but ask other people.
Is
Anybody
that something you ask somebody?
Okay. But I don't believe that answer. I think you're full of absolute donkey horseshit. I don't even know what donkey horseshit
I
is.
think I do okay. I think I'm average, like the girl next door.
You think you're average.
Yes.
All right. So we've been married 11 years. That's the first time I can honestly say you've ever directly lied to my face. That is such bull. You know better than that. That's so
I love
irritating.
that you're my biggest fan.
I'm so irritated right now. Well, look, if you've never met her, you know she's full of shit and she's lying right now on air to you, me and you. If you've not met her, just, I don't know, go to our website, go to our socials. She's so full of shit. That's so irritating. All right. So here's an interesting study that they did.
Are you sweating?
I am sweating because I'm
pissed.
They did a study where they took people and they took a bunch of different pictures of the same person, but they took the picture that they took and then ran it through some filters. Some of the filters made them look slightly less attractive, and some of the filters made them look slightly more attractive. And then they took those pictures and laid them out like an assortment of these pictures in front of the person and asked them to identify which one they thought looked the most like them. And almost everyone picked the most attractive picture, the one that had been edited the most to make them look the most attractive.
Of course.
No. But they didn't pick it because they liked it the best. They picked it. The instruction was pick the one you think most accurately reflects what you genuinely look like. Got it. So they obviously ignored the ones that made them look worse, and they went towards the one that made them look better. So we tend to have a much higher view of what we look like, and it's one of the reasons when we see a picture of ourselves.
Well, I think we all want to look aesthetically pleasing.
Of course, but wanting to look away and thinking that you look away, is very different. So the point here is that we're very biased, and there's a million of these examples. I had to cut a lot of them out. But we think we're much better at things than we are. Especially,
I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think there's people like.
Don't agree with what?
I don't know if that was a study that people can agree with or not, but.
What was the study?
People typically, I think women typically think they look worse than they do. I'm saying that that's not what this study showed. Okay. The study wasn't trying to figure out whether people looked worse than they thought they looked or anything like that. It showed a series of pictures. One was unfiltered. Some were filtered in a negative way. Some were filtered in a slightly positive way. And people in general, women and men, generally picked the more attractive but filtered picture as the most accurate representation of what they actually look like. And I agree with you that women probably more than men. I think this is just me talking. I didn't look this up. I think women may be a little more negative on themselves than men tend to be, because society, men in particular, puts so much emphasis on what women look that it's such pressure. Yeah.
But that's not what this was talking about. All right. And so the point here is that we as human beings, as a species, dramatically overestimate our own abilities and attributes, in particular when it comes to things that are very difficult to measure.
Yeah.
So how do you like all these things that we just talked about, whether you're a better driver, it's hard to measure that.
Right.
Whether you're more attractive might be hard.
Well, you could measure that by how many tickets have you had.
No, you can't, because you've been stopped a lot and you always get out of it.
Not a lot. I'm 48. I've been stopped 5 or 6 times.
You have 100% stop to getting out of a ticket ratio.
Yes.
I have a 95% of getting stopped, getting a ticket ratio. All right. So that's pretty good evidence.
I'm sorry, you're not a smooth talker.
All right. So this concept it matters. We're going to get to why it matters here as far as relationships go, but we're not nearly as good. All right. And for those of you that are listening right now thinking, yeah, but I understand people are bad at overestimating themselves, but I'm kind of the exception, that kind of thing. We're going to get to that. April's going to tell a story though about a time that maybe she thought she was really good at reading a situation and it didn't maybe turn out the way she thought.
Yeah. So I had so many stories to choose from. Because here's one thing that I've learned being married to Scott.
Uh-oh.
You are a good communicator and you ask really thoughtful questions. And so in my entire life until the age of 38, I've really leaned heavily on my intuition, because it served me. Your intuition, when I was, raised up and there was trauma and stuff like that, I needed that intuition. It really served to protect me and keep me safe. And in my previous marriage, it really served me to protect me and keep me safe. Well, in a relationship where I don't need it necessarily to keep me safe, I still have these old patterns of this body language means this, or this silence means that. And that's not necessarily the case in a healthy relationship. And so, when you told me, you're like, I need you to, tell a story, about when you were that reflects the bad prophet. I'm like, God, I have 5 million of those. So I do have a few examples. One of the most recent was we went out with some friends here in town, and it's one of our dear girlfriends, not girlfriend, but a girl who's a friend. She's a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And she introduced us to her girlfriend. And we had dinner together. We had a lovely time. Went to a play that she was directing. And then afterwards went out to a local bar. And we were dancing, we were drinking, we were having a good time. And somewhere in the night, I felt like the two of them, our friend and her girlfriend, maybe were not in a good place.
Why?
Body language.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because you are adorably oblivious.
So you say.
But you are. And you were flirting with her girlfriend, our friend's girlfriend.
That's true.
Okay. And she had said to you that, she had never been attracted to a man, and all of a sudden, but she was drawn because your energy obviously is so good. And so there was a couple times in the night I had kind of pulled you aside, and I'm like, look, I don't know. I think you need to pull back a little bit, because the way I'm reading the situation, you may be causing some issues. And so, and I had pulled back a little bit because I was like, I'm hands off. You are my friend. Nothing else matters. Well, so we did have a really good night, though. I was taught to line dance by this super sexy man.
Honestly, it was one of the most fun nights we've ever had in our hometown.
Oh, 100%.
Both of
hands
us had
down.
a blast.
Had a blast. The next day, I messaged our friend, and I was like, I had a great time, blah, 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 blah. No response. So in my head, I'm like, she's fucking pissed.
Mm-hmm. Because I was flirting with her.
Fuck this up. Right?
And by the way, I think that she's attractive too, not just the girlfriend, but
of course.
I think both of them are very attractive.
Both of them. And so I had a conversation with you. I'm like, I didn't say it like this, but I'm like, you done fucked up.
Is that
You've done it now. No, but I was concerned because I love my friend so much that I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't drive a wedge. I hope there wasn't a line crossed. And so I told you, though, I'm like, she's mad. She didn't respond. And 2 days went by. And in my head, I'm like, should I message again?
And I was asking you too over there.
Yeah.
I was like, did she respond yet?
And I'm like, no, she didn't respond.
I got worried.
Monday comes and she sends me I use the app Marco Polo. It's like a video chat. The happiest, bubbliest message. Hey girl, just wanted to say we had a fantastic time Saturday or Friday night. And I'm like, oh my God, I was wrong.
Yeah, so you know that she's not upset at you.
Oh no, 100% not. I knew.
But you were very confident.
I knew Monday morning when she sent me that Marco Polo, she was fine. It was all in my head. Misreading body language, misreading the situation. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in their relationship.
Right.
I don't know. I had just met her girlfriend. I don't know her body language. I don't know how she responds in social settings. Maybe she's introverted. Maybe she's acting out of character. That kind of stuff, since we've been together, And you have brought awareness to situations in a very kind and loving way where maybe my intuition was off a little bit, especially with you, because there's been times where I thought you were mad at me because maybe I was being a little cunty. And in my previous relationship, I would have been stonewalled for weeks, maybe even a month. There's been times where I'm like, are you mad at me? And you'll be like, why? For what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And for 8 hours, I had given you space and like gone upstairs and like just like given you your space because I assumed you were mad at me because of something I had said that I probably thought was funny.
And I was oblivious to the fact
And
that you were
had
even
no idea.
worried. I'm like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
Well, so that's a great story. That's a perfect example of this. But there was actually a research project done on trying to measure people's ability to, sort of empathically or intuit what their romantic partner, either their husband or wife or, boyfriend, girlfriend were thinking. There's actually research for it. And what they did is they had these couples come in and talk about very heated issues that they may have had in their relationship. And they recorded it. And then they went back a few days later and had them both come in separately and watch the video recording. And then they asked them, or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a few days later. That was another research project. They immediately pulled them out of the room after the discussion and pulled them into separate rooms, had them listen to these discussions and asked them to write down what they thought their partner meant at very specific moments in the conversation, where they may have had kind of some information, but it was only partial. What do you think they actually meant here? And the average, and these are people that were in relationships. They had history. They knew each other pretty well. They were accurate on average 21% of the time. 1 out of 5 predictions or intuitions or guesses as to what their partner meant. Now, you may think, all right, well, that's because that person is not empathetic. That person is not intuitive. I am much better than that person at reading it. The best people were accurate about 37 to 38% of the time, which was far less than half the time. Yeah. Just barely over 1 out of 3. The worst people were accurate about 5% of the time. So the range was 5% to 30. So if you're listening right now thinking, well, yeah, but I'm the exception. Well, if you are the best, absolute best, you're right about 1 out of 3 times.
And girl, I'm with you. I'm the exception as well.
Right. So, which, that brings up the next point, right? So if you're out there listening again, if you're the best at reading people, the absolute best, and we're talking about your partner too, because that's what was being measured, you're wrong more than half the time. All right. And I know if you're like me, you're kicking back against that. You're pushing back, but just bear with us for a minute. Because you might think you're an exception. I think I'm an exception. You think you're an exception. We all do.
I do want to say this.
Okay.
Your intuition does serve you, and you should always listen to it.
Not always, but we're going to get to that. I disagree with you, but we're going to get to that. All right. But I'm not saying intuition isn't important. It is, right. But I do want to get to that in a minute. But most of us are hearing this and go, yeah, people are like that. They overestimate how good they are at things. They think they're better at reading people. They think they're better. I get it. That doesn't sound that none of this probably so far sounds, it might be a little surprising at the actual numbers, but not surprising in general, because a lot of us think that, well, I'm different. I'm the exception here. And I know I am. I've done the work. I've read the books. I've been to therapy. I'm very self-aware. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm probably better at my self-evaluation than the average person. Every fucking one of us thinks that. But all of those things are clouded by the individual biases that we have. So there was another study done on biases. 661 adults were polled and asked, do you think that you are more biased than the average person? More biased. How many out of 661 would you guess said they thought they were more biased?
Half of them.
1. Out of 661 people, 1 person thought they were more. In other words, nobody thinks they're more biased than anybody else. And here's the problem. right now, you and me are both doing the exact same fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the people listening to us are doing the same thing, thinking, yep, people are biased.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less biased than them.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that. It doesn't matter whether you're intelligent. In fact, intelligence a lot of times makes it worse because intelligent people are better able to defend their biases than less intelligent people. All right. So, and what happens is we tend to, we judge people, we judge other people's actions from the outside. I see you doing a thing and I judge it from the outside. But when I do a thing, I inherently understand my motivations, my reasons for doing it. I understand my old wounds that are kind of causing what I'm doing. I understand my defensiveness, all of that stuff. I'm very graceful to myself, gracious to myself, much less graceful to you or other people.
Right.
It's so easy to understand ourselves, and it's not as much, even though we think we're all good at it, we're not.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where the bad prophet concept in the book comes from. It's not because we're stupid or immature or we have bad intentions, but we just have this human confidence that says, I think I know what this thing means. And that confidence is often built on a lot less evidence than we are willing to admit. So why do we do it? What is your best guess? Why do we do this? Why are we so confident in our abilities to read people, intuit what's happening, to think?
I think it's just lived experience, right? You take pieces of the way you've lived your life and the experiences that you've had and use those little bits of information. And like I said before, a lot of times it serves you. Mm-hmm. For a while, in specific situations, it serves you. The times that I've been right, it was very useful. It protected me. So it was better for me to trust my intuition that I was right than it would have been for me to ignore my intuition. It would have been dangerous.
That's such a good way of phrasing it, because that's what psychologists say too. A million years ago, we're in the African plains or something. I don't know if it was a million years ago, 6 million. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff. But
if you were raised in my church 6,000 years ago.
Right. Yeah. You see something off in the distance, long, skinny, black thing. You think it could be a snake. You think it could be a stick. You react, your central nervous system reacts to that uncertainty with fear.
Right.
Because that's the safest reaction.
Right.
If you run from it, you won't get bit.
Right.
But if you think, well, it might be a stick, I'm going to walk up and grab it and see, well, now you could get bit. So our central nervous system has evolved to protect us. It is a protection mechanism. And that's what the bad prophet does, is it takes information. Our body reacts to something. We get the tightening in the chest, the stomach drops, our throat thickens.
Closes up.
Is that a thing?
It closes up.
Throat thickens.
I don't think it thickens.
And then our mind starts to spin a story, because our brains we do not like uncertainty. We would rather predict something bad and be confident in it than to dwell on the uncertainty of a thing, because that's how we've evolved. It was a protection mechanism. Our central nervous system its primary job is to protect us. And like you just said, so what if it's not a stick? At least if we run from it, we don't get bit. There's no negative consequence. However, that doesn't work very well in modern loving relationships, because our central nervous system is adapted to protect us. And our modern life is built around trying to expand and love and be free and enjoy our life.
Right.
And what worked in the jungle doesn't work in the urban jungle nearly as well. But it still feels very convincing in the moment. We can say all of that we want, but when me and you are mad at each other and I'm thinking you're being a bitch and you're thinking I'm being a dick, all of this shit just goes out the window.
Right.
Right. What happens?
Well, it's not even, it's not that I'm being a bitch.
No, you're never a bitch.
Or that you're being a dick. It's that what I perceive is you not as invested in me, or maybe I'm not good enough for you. That's the thing. I don't think you and I are ever like, oh, she's such a cunt, which you probably should. And I'm like, oh, he's such a dick, because you never are.
But right, that so you take a piece of information, and I do the same thing. I'm just using you because you said that, but you take partial information,
right,
that is real.
Right.
Something happened. You feel a certain way. All that's real information. And then your body, in a matter of seconds, spins a story. And we're exceedingly good at it, just like we were in the jungle. The bush rustles, and we see a rustle, and our body reacts to it. We feel that fear come on because we don't know what it is.
Yeah. And
so we spin a story, probably a snake, probably a lion, probably a tiger, and we run.
So in the lifestyle, in situations like, so my examples earlier were not really lifestyle related, but an instance where maybe I'm not feeling super connected to you, and I see you flirting or making out with a woman and touching her tits or whatever. And in my head, my default goes to, he's just not that into me. She's more he's more attracted to her. I can create this whole narrative in my head, and I hate that that's been my default. I'm working on changing those thought patterns, but it goes, he doesn't want me anymore. I'm always chasing him. He wants her more than he wants me. They're going to ride off into the sunset together. And so those patterns that probably served me in my previous marriage, where he was fucking around and doing dirty shit, just don't serve me anymore.
Well, and I do the same thing. So, and we all do. If you're listening to this and you think you don't do it, you're probably even more guilty than the average person.
Or maybe you're really, really healthy.
Possibly, but I doubt it. But here's a story I'll tell. You don't know this, by the way.
I don't know this story.
No, the story you just told, I knew about. This story you don't know. I've never told you this because I was embarrassed about it. But, we started this whole wild love theory thing. What was it, a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And I remember a few months into it, you were struggling to engage in your newfound freedom, which we've realized why that was, because you had so much on your plate, you just couldn't. And I wasn't carrying my fair share. But I remember one day I was right here. You can't see that, on the show, but I was in the doorway or the arch into our kitchen, and I saw you were standing in the kitchen, but you didn't know I was standing there. I don't remember how this played out like that exactly, but I saw you texting. Now, up until this time, as far as I was aware, you had not done any private messaging really with anybody. And I just kind of stopped because I realized you didn't know I was standing there, and your hair was draped in a way. You were kind of angled where I could see your phone, but you didn't know I was there because your hair was blocking your peripheral vision, and you were messaging somebody. And it was a long message. Like you type. It wasn't message, short message.
Right.
It was a long time. And then you hit enter. And I could not, from the distance, I could not see who you were messaging, just that it was a long message. And I said, hey, baby, or something. And you kind of looked shocked. Like you put the phone down real quick and put it on the counter. And I was like, oh, that looks suspicious. Now, I have zero historical evidence of you ever doing anything suspicious.
Yeah.
Zero. But in that moment, it felt suspicious, the way you reacted.
Don't be suspicious.
Yeah, I didn't say anything. And I stayed in the kitchen. All right. You didn't do anything else with your phone. A few minutes later, you went upstairs. I don't know what you did, but you left your phone on the counter.
Probably masturbated, because that's usually what I do when I go upstairs.
Not without your phone, because you'd take your phone with you and watch porn. But you went upstairs. And I'm not proud of this, but I grabbed your phone and I looked. I already knew what time. I'd already looked at my phone when you were messaging to see when the timestamp would be on the messages.
Yeah.
And I was convinced you were doing something you didn't want me to know about.
Yeah.
I picked up your phone, looked through it, and you were messaging your son about your grandbaby. And I felt like such a piece of shit because somehow my central nervous system had registered a threat built a story around it in less than 30 seconds. Like, this bitch is doing something she ain't supposed to do. That's why she seemed startled when I had impartial information, but I felt very confident. All right, I don't know what she's doing, but she didn't really want me to know about it. I'm about to find out what it was.
Well, and I do want to say we have open phones.
Yeah.
Like, you can go through my phone at any time. I can go through your phone at any time. Like, so it doesn't bother me that you picked up my phone. And
no, and I knew it wouldn't. But what's interesting about that is I was pretty confident you were doing something you didn't really want me to know about, despite the fact that I have no historical evidence of you doing things like that. It felt really real in the moment, and I felt really stupid after I read through them. I was like, and then only when I was faced with the hard evidence of the exact time the messages looked like the screen looked when I saw you from a distance, that I realized, all right, here's an example of you doing exactly what we've written about in the book, projecting because your body reacted to a situation. And we do this all the time in lifestyle. You do it to me, I do it to you.
Well, not just the lifestyle, just
regular life.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for that. These things feel convincing because they were beneficial to us a long time ago. They were beneficial to us in the jungle. They're not beneficial to us now, or at least not as beneficial. When we feel a threat, when our body reacts, and I'm like, I saw you texting, my body reacted. I don't know what happened, but I felt a way, right? And I reacted. And that feels like a threat, and our body wants to instantly start to narrow the field of possibility. What could it mean that because like you set the phone down really quickly when I went, hey baby, and you set it down really quickly. Probably I startled you. But in the moment it felt like something fishy. And I want to start, your body starts narrowing the field of possibility down. All right. That probably.
Well, you also pull from other experiences, right? Like, so in past relationships, if I would have walked in and, I had been cheated on, and I bank that, right? So that comes out of your file system where you go, oh, I remember what that means.
Right.
I didn't at the time, but now in hindsight, I know he was texting somebody else. So now if you're come in the room and like look startled and slam your phone down and all of a sudden like shut the computer screen or whatever it is, like, oh, they're hiding something.
And that's true. And if you've been cheated on multiple times and you walk into a room and see your partner do what I saw you do, that's reasonable.
Right.
You should be worried.
Right.
I don't have that experience. Right. I don't have that pack, but it still felt that way.
Yeah.
Right. And what's an interesting thing, psychology talks about this, is that our psyche prefers an uncertain conclusion versus uncertainty in general.
Yeah.
We would rather make a painful conclusion off impartial evidence than to live with the uncomfortability of being uncertain in a moment. Mm-hmm. So we have pieces of evidence that pops up. We use our past history. We use evidence of things that we think we know, and we will build a case because at least in that moment, we can react to something.
Right.
Our body our central nervous system is trying to protect us. It's going to always imagine worst case scenario. Imagine the time that you had try to tell me a time that you had impartial information and you had a negative physical reaction to seeing something, hearing something, being involved in something, and your body took that impartial information and goes, well, this is probably a great thing. Yeah. It never fucking does that, right? It never goes, hey, she got really quiet tonight. It's probably because she's overwhelmed with how happy she is. We never do that, right? Do you ever do that? I don't.
No, but you should always think she got really quiet. She's probably thinking about her grandbaby.
But I mean, isn't that true? Like, if there's ever an uncertain moment and we see a thing, whatever that thing is, I see you texting in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I have some sort of negative reaction to it in my body. Mm-hmm. My brain never then takes that impartial information and spins a potentially positive scenario out of it. That's because our central nervous system is adapted to protect us, and it always imagines the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So, and again, we go into depth more in the book about this, but one of the things that we try to, that's what we call the bad prophet, the part of our psyche that takes impartial and imperfect and fragmented information after we've had a bodily or an embodied reaction to it, and builds a case to help us protect. Because even though it might be negative, even though the story that our brain is spinning might be negative on us, at least it gives us a target to brace towards, to react, to prepare for. And we would rather experience that negativity than the unbearable pain of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. So we build that case. So we call that the bad prophet. We also have the unprophet. The unprophet's job is to try to take that imperfect information, and instead of taking that visceral, negative, embodied physical reaction and spinning a negative story, to go, hey, what you did or what I saw or what I heard or what I read made me feel this way. Mm-hmm. Can you please explain to me what was happening? Now, is that what we normally do? You and I?
Oh, are you asking me hypothetically? Or
yeah, no, I mean, like, if you feel spun up about something I did, said, or you read, do you typically come to me, hey, that kind of made me feel a little bad. Can you explain to me what happened?
We are getting better at that.
We are. But is that our typical?
That's not our default. No. That is not our default.
And I would venture to say it's not most people's default.
But we are actively working on that. That's something that we're very cognizant of.
Do you think so? Again, we've just not, I can't think of an example where you ever lied to me. I can't think of an example where you ever did something that you told me you weren't going to do or anything. We have this huge amount of trust with each other, but we're human. We still have these issues. And yet, given the fact that we've had this incredibly trustworthy foundation of a relationship together, I still, if you do something sometimes, even today before this podcast, we had a little dust up.
I didn't.
No, I did. Yeah, but I won't bore anybody with the story. It was just the silliest thing where I thought, why are you saying? And instead of coming to you going, hey, why are you asking me that way? Because it's made me feel a little negative, and giving you a chance to explain. Not only have I already built a story in my head, but even after you go, no, that's not what I meant, I'm still going to defend my fucking story, and I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We all have these thought patterns. It's like somebody explained it to me like this one time, going down a ski hill, and you use the same track, right? You use the same track. And our whole life, we're using the same track. And then you get into a healthy relationship, and that same track doesn't serve you anymore. So you have to build a new track, and that's harder. It's a lot harder because the snow is not as, I don't know, I don't ski. It's fluffy. Anyways, you're building new pathways.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not an easy thing to do. And it takes work. It takes a lot of times therapy. It takes undoing patterns and recognizing patterns that no longer serve you or your relationship. But if you aren't willing to recognize those, and you aren't willing to undo those and do the work to train new healthy patterns, you're going to be stuck.
Yeah, because the problem is we all have these biases, but when we're being biased, which we're almost always in some sense being biased, it's not like you can just go, okay, I'm aware of the fact that I'm biased, so now I will fix it. Being biased doesn't feel like being biased. It feels like common sense. When we're in a disagreement and whatever biases I have come into play, I'm not aware that they're in play.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just right. I'm correct.
Well, I think I've said this before.
I can see your biases.
I think in discussions before, you've been like, well, why do you think that? I'm like, everybody thinks that. That's common sense. Like, in my mind, why wouldn't that have been the answer? Of course that's true. Everybody would think that. Those are the kind of things that I like to throw out in a discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna get super nerdy here. There's a principle in science. It's called I think it's called a principle or the theory, I don't know, of underdetermination. Essentially what it says is almost any set of data has a near infinite number of explanations for it. Mm-hmm. Yet when we're in interpersonal relationships, we get these sets of data. He said this, then he did that, then he went and did this.
Right.
It must mean X.
Right.
When in actuality, it can mean 500,000 million different things.
Right.
They may not all be equally likely, but there's so many possibilities. And how many times in your life, my life, your life, the listener's life, have we thought for sure something meant a thing only to find out it didn't?
Yeah.
And what happens is in our brain, this is a psychological protection mechanism, is we sort of historically just dismiss those. Like, okay, I understand why that happened now. No big deal. The thing we remember the most is the times we get it right.
Right.
Even though those happen less than the times we get it wrong, we're not able to really remember the times we get it wrong because we sort of, explain those things away. Not intentionally, but it just happens automatically.
So I do want to say one last thing about the bad prophet, especially as it relates to our lifestyle. In experiences where I felt like you were choosing someone over me, or flirting with somebody when I was feeling insecure or whatever I was feeling, the bad prophet would narrate the experience as he's choosing her over me, or I'm not enough, or I'm losing him, or it means something about my value. When in actuality, the pain is real. My mind turns that pain into certainty, and the meaning about my worth and my desirability and our relationship. And so instead of turning that into, I'm certain I'm not worthy of his love, I'm certain he is choosing her over me. That's not the actual truth. And so being able to sit with that and pause and really ask myself the questions like, what do I know is truth right now? Instead of going, well, of course, I'm not desirable. I'm not worthy. He does like her more than me. Knowing what I know is true. What has been true in our relationship? How have you expressed your love to me, shown your love to me, been present for me, shown up for me? That is the real experience.
Yeah, and it's not easy.
No,
it's not easy. It sounds easy when we're talking about it.
It's not easy, and I default, unfortunately, to the bad prophet more often than not.
Well, that brings us, and this is very quick, but it brings us to the other side of that coin, which is what we call the unprophet. You can't just be aware of the fact that this stuff happens and that be enough to fix it. Mm-hmm. We're all biased, and we're biased all the time, even when you're aware of the fact that you're biased.
Right.
Your central nervous system is going to try to protect you no matter what. You can maybe get a little bit better at it, but you're always going to have it. So how does the unprophet work? Well, one of the things you can do is whatever that initial reaction is to a negative embodied feeling, you can try to demote that conclusion. Your body's going to spin a story almost instantly. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Take the story and just say, all right, this is information. It's a first draft. It's not the final report. What do you do from there? Well, start separating, like you just talked about. What are the things that I actually know? What happened? What am I feeling? I feel negative. I feel bad. I feel sad. I feel jealous. I feel envy, whatever. Those are real.
Yeah.
What actually happened? Scott did this or April did that or whatever. And then, we can separate the facts from the story that our mind is building. Here's an important one. I read a book a long time. You can be happy a long time ago. That's called "You Can Be Happy No Matter What." And it talked about how you can take a situation, if you can practice this over time. It's not easy at first, but you can practice and start spinning instead of what our body does naturally, which is spin a very negative. We talked about that. The bad prophet never projects rainbows and roses. It's always bad. Well, take that situation and go, all right, what is the, even if it seems weird, what's the best possible explanation I can come up with this? How can I spin this, even if it feels ridiculous in the moment? What is a good spin I could put on this? That's one way you can do it. And you might start to feel like, all right, I can kind of see how this might not have been as bad as I thought. You can also check with friends. You can say, hey, my asshole husband did this thing.
I don't ever call you an asshole.
I know, but you know what I mean. Give them all the information as best you can. It's hard to give an unbiased reporting of things, but give them the facts, not your interpretation of the facts, but what are the facts, and let them tell you.
And if you have good friends
that will actually be neutral.
Like we have no friends. We have zero friends that are unafraid to call me out on my bullshit or you out on your bullshit. Yeah. And they won't dog you. They won't dog me. They will take that information and give us their honest, real opinion. Like, April, I think you're off base here. This is the way I see it. And same with you.
And take, and the other thing, so, you can reach out to other people if you're having trouble kind of sorting through things. But also a lot of times just take some time. Sometimes it's a 10-second pause. Sometimes it's a day or hours or maybe weeks.
Yeah. For me, sometimes it's been weeks.
Yeah, but isn't it crazy how the exact same situation a day later or 6 days later, you go, all right, this doesn't feel nearly as heavy as it did in the moment.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. Just the weight of it and the time that we've let our central nervous system just kind of calm down a bit has let us go, all right, I see this from a slightly different perspective.
Yeah. We had a situation where I got all spun out, and because we do not have this figured out, I went and took like a 6-mile walk and then told you, I can't talk about this again until. And it was a month later where I was finally like, okay, I can talk about this without being completely emotionally dysregulated.
And that's very unusual. That is the most extreme example we have. And I don't know that was the biggest thing that ever happened.
It wasn't the biggest
thing. But for some reason, that was the one that took you the longest to kind of calm down from.
Not just calm down.
Calm down's the wrong word.
Did you just tell me to calm down?
Yeah, sorry. That was, you should punch me.
I'm going to fuck you up. No, I had a lot to process.
Yeah.
And I knew it was one of those moments where I'm like, this is not a you, this is a me problem. You had some culpability.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely.
But I needed to figure out my side of it.
Yeah. So you sometimes need time, and that time can be very different depending on the situation and the person, and that's okay. Just don't let the bad prophet seep into your life and rule the day. It's information, but it's not a conclusion.
Right.
And it's so hard, and it sounds so reasonable right now.
Yeah.
But when you're spun up
in the thick of it,
it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But I think if you can start to become aware of the fact that the way we see things is not always accurate, despite how much pride we take in being that person that can interpret those things.
Yeah.
We're not right a lot of the times. And that kind of humble attitude and spirit can a lot of times set the stage for a quicker repair.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And we've had our opportunities to test that.
Yes, and we'll continue.
Yeah, and we'll continue
to test that.
All right. Well, baby, I love you, and I hate the fact that I've always been good and honorable and correct, and you misinterpret.
And it must be hard to be married to somebody with higher than average IQ and driving ability.
Empathy, reading people, vibe checks,
right?
All that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. If you want to hear more, you can join us on our Patreon at the After Chat, patreon.com/Naughty Gym, or what we're getting ready to do right now in actually 10 minutes. Every Wednesday night inside of our Naughty Gym platform, we go live with all of our community members, and we literally just talk about anything. We talk about life. People talk about issues that they may be having in the lifestyle, or whatever, fitness, nutrition, non-monogamy, nothing is off the table. And it really does feel like every week a friend reunion.
Yeah.
We've gotten to know these people. So if you are looking for community, naughtygym.com, sign up for the monthly membership. It comes with fitness and nutrition coaching, but I would say the majority of the people use the platform for community, to connect with other people, to get to know other people.
You'll get every workout you ever need, but you also get a lot of friends.
Yeah. And it's just a really amazing thing. We look forward to it every week. So that's where we're about to go.
Oh, one last announcement I want to make. We are about 80% of our way towards amassing all of the finances and resources that we need to take over this this existing resort in Florida. Can't say the name, but you can reach out if you're interested. We're almost there. As far as all the money we need to raise, it's a lot of money, millions of dollars, but we're almost there. If you're interested in investing or being a part of this, reach out and we can send you all the financials, the pitch deck, all the numbers, that kind of thing. We're excited about this.
Yeah. And an even bigger announcement, if we hadn't said before, my birthday's on Friday. It's a Gemini world and you're just living in it. So for now, join us over on the Patreon for the after chat, patreon.com/naughtygym. And remember to never stop playing.